verbally abusive to all the women in the family, the men too, but my experience, it was the women because that was mostly what was around, conveniently for him to be abusive to, physically abusive to my mom, verbally abusive to his mother, my grandma, which was close, near and dear to my heart to this day. The one who practically raised me, because my mom, she was always, whatever it was she was out there doing, she couldn't keep a job. And I kind of wonder, like if there's somebody, like I wondered if there was somebody sabotaging her, like they, people were sabotaging me. I'm like, I found out, no, she just didn't want to keep a job. She wanted to, she wanted an easy life. I'll say that. She wanted to be kept. And that was never me. It's just like, I got to her telling me that, oh, all you have to do is get out of the car and show a little leg. And I'm like, why would I do that when I could just change the fucking tire myself? You know, I think she slapped the shit out of me that day. I think, it was so many times, just for no reason at all that it happened, that I don't even remember what I got my ass beat for. Sometimes that she had a reason, a good reason, and sometimes it was just like, oh, you know, it was cloudy today. And I shit. But one of the things was, I was swimming in a pool, like the apartment pool, and some random teenage boy, he had to be about, like, I don't know, 16, 17 or something like that. How he knew about this type of shit, I didn't know, but I understood what it meant, and I'm like, I never heard this word before, but I catch on pretty quick, I'd say. And the dude was in the pool talking about, because I was going underwater trying to hold my breath and learn how to swim underwater. And it was just a weird and trash ass situation that I was put in. And the dude said, if you go under the water one more time, I'm gonna finger bang you. I'm like, the fuck? And so I went underwater, to, like, you know, because the pool was like 5-6 feet or some shit like that, and I had to like jump back to the top, and I like swim, and he kind of just like stared at me as I got out of the pool. And I went in the house. I remember we had fries and fish sticks with ketchup, and you know, she had it waiting for me. And then I was sitting down to eat. She snatched the chair back so hard and started stomping me on the floor, calling me a slut. I'm like, I literally came in the house to get away from that shit, because she would peek out the window to make sure we haven't drowned yet or whatever the fuck, right? She was just highly upset. My brother, he had well, we met these friends or whatever, and yeah, she told me to go to my room, so I had to retract. She told me to go to my room, and then she hit me and broke a remote over my shoulder. I'm just like, I don't know what the fuck I did but come in the house and dry off, you know. Oh no, that day that was another event. She actually, like, I actually said something to her. I don't remember what it was, but you know, it warned me, caused me to get hit with a remote, and to the point the remote broke over my shoulder. And it was the same day, different incident. It's like, you know, you get tired, even as a kid, you get tired of getting your ass whooped. You know, love your parents, but, man, what the fuck, right? And let's see. Like, as far as my brother, he was always getting his ass, all of us were always getting our ass beat except for our little sister, right? And she was just sneaky. She was always running around, lying on me and him, trying to get us, looking for ways to get us in trouble, and wonder why we didn't want shit to do with her. Just like, you know, and I don't know what their relationship is today, but I haven't had contact with any of them in the past, I don't know how many years, at least, I would say at least 3 years, 5 years maybe, probably 5 years, because I remember I moved out here in 2019, and almost a year or two after, it was just like no contact with anybody. And it's been like that, and they've been trying to find different ways to contact me through my son, which is like, I told my son, don't. I'm saying it on camera today, like, do not respond. Or tell my mom said not to respond, because it's just like, it's hard to explain a situation that you know what's going on. You know what they're trying to do. You know, and looking at the communication, no, it's just a no, right? And he's a good kid, as far as I know. He could not. Shit, I'm not there, you know. I'm not there physically. Could never tell, but we do have our conversation. If he needs something, he knows he can call me. He always does. Well, until like 2 years ago, he was like, "Ma, you know, I don't want you to pay for anything else." But yeah. My brother, he turned to gangs, and I don't even started, you know, he was out there bad. Like, he was living behind dumpsters and shit, and living like, my mom didn't give a fuck. She didn't give a fuck, man. And my sister, you know, she stayed right there with her, and she was the one who was actually abusive to her. That's the wild part. The one she favored the most, because I remember when I first got to Cali, she was talking about how my sister, she started a business, she made this much today, blah blah, and I never discuss my finances with them because fuck them, right? I don't like to discuss my finances like that with anybody, really. So the fact that somebody would run, that I did have at some point somebody running around discussing my finance, screaming out about my finances with people, is wild, because I don't fucking talk to anybody about them. So there's that. I'll say like where I'm at in life, like I'm not, I'm definitely behind on some shit, I'll say that much, but like details of my bank account, no, I'm not doing that. And okay, so I left, what was that, I think once and for all, I left my grandma's house when I was like 25 or something like that, because the whole taking care of her and and then when I had a job and my child and going to school on top of that and buying groceries for the house, and that shit just getting ate up, my money getting ate up, and grandma wants me to pay bills, but I'm like, look where it's going to this motherfucker's mouth, and I mean that, and then like that's just how I talk. It's no disrespect to him, but it's kind of like also meh, I'm not, it's hard not to be disrespectful. That's why I had to separate myself, because the last thing I want to do is be disrespectful to anyone. But if I'm in a situation, that shit just might happen. If you like, I'm tested, like I'm healing from that, I'm getting better from that knee-jerk reaction. But actually, it's not even a knee-jerk reaction. It takes me a long time. You got to be really like trying me like regularly. Like I have to have set boundaries and everything for me to be disrespectful to somebody. I'd rather walk away and ghost you altogether than be disrespectful. So I found that that's what I had to do with my whole family. Like it's like I looked at myself. I was just like, how much of this shit is actually my fault? Like how much of this shit should I be, reflecting on, and do I have to put up with it, basically, or am I putting up with anything, and I'm just being an asshole? I looked at all that. Like I make sure I look at myself first, and for the longest I actually thought my grandmother's death was totally my fault, because I left her with fucking monsters, and I did what I had to do for me and my son. It's like sometimes you gotta lead people to what they choose. You gotta let people do what they want to do so you can see what they'd rather do, right? And she even gave me authority of the house one time, and she overrode me when she found out I was gonna call the police on her son. The dude who claimed to be my father, because it's just like, no, this shouldn't be, like, you're already sick. This is like basically murder through psychological abuse. Like, he doesn't have to physically touch you to kill you. This dude is killing you right now, and you're just like, you're trying to fight me for him. Like, and I'm literally here, like, up in the middle of the night changing bandages for a wound in her stomach, and this dude is here eating all the food, stressing her out even more. So the shit comes back. She survived the cancer. It all got cleared out, right? And like everybody's happy, but then she fell sick again. And I'm like, damn, you wonder why? Just like she was an overweight lady. She didn't have the best of diets. On top of that, compiled with that, even with that, she would have survived had this dude not been in her life. And then her family was full of leeches, money hungry leeches. Except for maybe, I don't know, her sisters or something, but they passed, because in our family, for some odd reason, could be witchcraft, could not be, they pass in threes, especially on my dad's side. And wow, that's interesting. They die in threes, and I don't think my sister faced any abuse. Like if she did, I was long gone. If she did, but my sister turned out to be the abusive one, because I got wind of some things, through the rumor mill of the family, that she did actually, hit her one time, and I was just like, damn, like that's, she needs her ass whooped for that, but I never quite, made it back to get around to that, and but she was the one she'd always brag on. She was the one she'd always try to put me in competition with. I'm like, I don't care what the girl is doing, because I'm not even fond of her if I gave a fuck. then I would be asking her, hey, what's up? I'd be calling her. If I don't give a fuck, trust me, I won't be, I will not ask you. I will not call you. I don't care. And it's just like the more I tried to separate, the more I would be pursued. So finally I blocked all the numbers. And, and this is like when I was working on blocking them and cutting them off when I was homeless. Because I'd been homeless a couple of times because of people playing in my finances, people playing in, I could never, like, every time I took 2 steps forward, somebody was there to, scream at a job I had and talk a bunch of shit to the point, or call in and make sure I got fired for whatever, some false narrative or some lie. And, just gang stalking shit. So I lost plenty of jobs. I had to walk away. Well, I walked away from some too. It was just like, hey, I gotta increase my pay and learn something new. It's just like it was a dead end job. And I refuse to work those like past the point of where it can teach me. So yeah, I made the moves that I thought were necessary, and now I'm just freelancing out here. I'm just working for me, and until I figure out like where I want to be, where I want to land for long term or permanent, whichever. And every little bit of stability I try to achieve, like my grandmother passed, right? And like when I think I don't know how old I was. I forgot what. I gotta look back and backtrack. I can't think of it right now. The year she passed, and I get the phone call. Right, I missed the phone call because I was like so tired from working hospital visits. She was in hospice and everything like that, and I passed out, and I forgot I left my phone on silent. And my dad leaves a message. Oh, that's a real good idea. That she just passed. Get it? He told me right before she died. It's like he was a damn vulture over her. Like when she passes, you make sure you make a beeline for the house, because that's where the rest of the family's gonna go. Fuck about money. What the fuck are we even discussing here? Like, I'll worry about that shit with a lawyer. Like, when I have a chance to get a lawyer and da-da-da-da. I didn't know how everything went, because it's like money, somebody else's money, or what somebody else was going to give to me was never something I gave a fuck about. I'm getting it on my own. And maybe that was some level of stubbornness. And, I was blessed with some help along the way, which was the 2 exes, well, not even situationships I had or whatever. That was a great help. But yeah, everybody had already been in the house rummaging it before I did. They didn't, I went to the hospital and just, I couldn't even grieve because it just the mess just kind of screwed me up a little bit. So I grieved a little bit, and it was just like, she's definitely somewhere better now. Like, the energy told me that she definitely, she was like, oh, glad to be away from this shit. That's what the energy of the room was telling me. It's like, you're gonna be all right. And her last words to me were, do things your way and take your time. So I did. That's what I'm doing. I'm just like living a stress. It's not a burden free or whatever it is, but it is stress free. I'm not gonna stress about shit. Like, I know divine timing, and if I'm serving karma, then I'm serving karma. If I'm gonna get blessed, then I'm gonna get blessed. It's like there's nothing I can do about either but keep fucking working and moving forward. I have choices. I could be a criminal. I have shit. Based on how my life was, I could be a lot shittier person. A really shitty person. I'm not even a shitty person. Like, I'm actually kind of cool if you actually take the time to get to know me and not be a fucking creep. And based on what you heard about me, but that's on your discernment, and like, you're doing me a favor whether you do or do not. So that's all on you. And after she passed, I kept contact with maybe my brother. I went to visit the home a few times because the home was a part of my inheritance. I knew that was in the will, and some money from a bank, which we all went. And I could tell from the banker that she was getting creepy ass vibes from my dad, who was like real anxious about the money, like damn near salivating. I'm like, dude, you might as well be gawking at the safe deposit boxes. That's how bad it was. And it's like trying to find all kinds of ways around it. It wasn't much, I'm just like, okay, we're here for this. this desperate, like, and, you know, going back and forth, getting paperwork, and I was just in the presence, and just like, all right, cool. I already see what they're trying to do. I'm not about to fight it, you know, because I'm like, I don't, you know, I didn't have the energy. I'm like, this shit is, you know, I didn't see like the extent of it. I'm like, what can I do? Because this is my, you know, who I guess to be my father, right? Didn't know what to do at the time. Like, I was very young, didn't know anything about that. While my grandma did teach me some things, I'm pretty sure she wanted to teach me a lot more, but she didn't get the chance to. So it is what it is. And I damn sure would have been receptive to it. I wish she did get the chance, but that's just what it was. So, you know, they got the deed to the house and everything. I'm pretty sure they altered their paperwork, and, you know, on the will, the deed to the house, and it was just like they fucked up the house to the point that it wasn't even livable for me or my child. So I definitely had to leave then. I definitely had to stay away. So I went on this whole journey and adventure, dark night of the soul. Like, I was all the way up to working 4 jobs just to keep our head above water and have, you know, be able to go somewhere, you know, be able to move back and forth. And, you know, I was living in different houses, you know, couch surfing, you know, for me and my son to have a place to stay, until I was like, you know, until I was just flat out of resources. I'm going to be homeless, sleeping in my car. And somehow I remember his dad's number. And, you know, shit. We decided where we're going to meet up. We met up at a hotel. He tried it, and I was like, no. Just no. It's just like, why would you even try me at a time like this? Like, it's like I'm about to, like, I've lost everything, you know, the little bit I did have, and I'm having to, like, I'm going to be separated from my son for I don't know how long, because I got to figure this shit out. And, you know, even when I was with somebody, I was alone. So it's just like, not lonely. I don't really get lonely, but I was alone, because it's like that dude was working against me too. So it's like, fuck. So you know, I'm back by myself again, living in my trailer, starting over and trying to figure out how to solidify my stability. Because just like I said, it's always been somebody in my background. When I take 2 steps forward, they're trying to make sure I take 5 backwards. And you know, this is where me, I'm fighting for it. You know, I was fighting for my son until, like, the Most High was like, no, you know, I got a plan, I got something. And now this is something else worth fighting for. Like, just being able to be on my own and be solo meal, you know, and enjoy life, and like being my true nature, my true energy. Apart from when I'm with my son, that is also my true energy. I'm very mothering, loving, caring, and just chill, just real chill. All I did when I was in these connections, attachments, whatever, was create peace for the people I stayed with. Like, I'd cook for them, I'd clean the house, you know, whatever income I was able to get, you know, I'd just use it for groceries in the house, make sure everybody was eating, make sure everybody had a hot plate, and, like, you know, a clean home to stay in. You know, it's just like, oh, biggie. Except for maybe 1 or 2 people, like, one of them was just a real piece of shit. Like, it's just like, okay, well, short-lived. And you know, I got stories now. It's like, one of them, I feel like dude tried to kidnap us. I'm just like, no, I'm calling the police, and I will be, you know, we will be leaving today, you know, with a little bit of money I had on a Greyhound. And yeah, very traumatizing things. But, you know, it's just like, once I was by myself, I was by myself. I was like, my son is not going to see a day of sleeping in the car, not while he's under my care. Like, there's no fucking way that's happening. So, you know, just like said my goodbye. Of course, I'll still have the visits. I still weekend visits, and you know, we made our agreement, and whatever, maybe he changed his mind. I don't fucking know what's gonna happen next as far as he goes. So contact with his dad, of course, naturally, because he was still not of age to take care of himself and really properly communicate anything to the point that it would be understandable by assumptions, which was funny. So they ran with it based off what they thought they had. And I got work where I could. Some I got paid cash, some I got paid, W-2. And when I met the last situationship, where I was in for like 4 or 5, 6 years, something like that. Something like that. I forgot how many years ago. But it ended last year. That's all I can say. And off the bat, all he wanted to do was argue. He was willing to wake me up out of my sleep to argue. I'm like, boundaries. Like, do not wake me up out of my sleep for shit. It better be an emergency, or it better be just worth whatever you waking me up for. Right? And eventually he learned. Because he's like, I don't want to go to bed mad. Well, I'm like, well, take your ass to sleep then. You ain't got to worry about being mad. It's just like, because whatever, I'm still here. I'm still going to be here in the morning. It's just like, I'm not, if I'm going to leave, I'm going to leave in front of your face. Like, instead of ghost you. Like, I was on some ghosting shit for a minute, but it's kind of like, like if I'm going to leave during an argument, then you more than likely won't have to worry about me anymore. Like, ain't shit going to be resolved, because we're going to lose all contact with each other, and that's just going to be that. Because, like, I'm not going to sit there and argue. He was trying his best in the first few months until he broke his neck to start an argument. Like, we moved really fast, Like, I was like, I'm not going to sit here and lie. He was, I forgot what, we met on a website. And it was just like, yo, what the fuck? What's wrong with this dude? And, like, it's kind of like a push and pull. He pushed me away, and it's kind of a yo-yo effect. And I was just like, because I never, like, it would be like one red flag, I'm out the door. Like, I was not playing games with anybody. Where I fucked up is that I didn't ignore the red flags, but I didn't act on it, and I should have acted on it. So we were, taking trips and everything like that, which I didn't really give a fuck about, because I'm trying to stack money and, like, get my shit together. And yada yada. He's like, oh, but if you don't go, then I won't go. Like, then don't go. But I highly recommend you go, so we can get some time apart and have a new refreshed energy, or whatever. And also, I couldn't really take him serious because he was still holding on to his ex. Just like, I don't have time for that. She was married. There's no way I'm gonna have an ex lurking around and I'm fucking married or in a relationship. There's just no. So I dropped I dropped everybody that could be like, that reminded me of like some toxic shit from the past that could possibly like ruin a relationship. I got rid of like a fling I was dealing with before I met him, because he was really the only one there. And just anybody who called themselves flirting with me by, like, it wouldn't make it past, they wouldn't make it into my phone. They were flirting, like, trying to, oh, you got a man? Just like, why are you worried about it? No. The answer is no, right? Extremely loyal. Extremely fucking loyal. And, he was hanging on to one broad who actually, as soon as he turned his back, she tried to backstab him to me. I'm just like, I warned him about her. It's like, maybe they're still together, maybe they're not. Who gives a fuck, right? Or maybe they're still in get much from me, still doing that, saying one thing, saying, oh, I want to spend my life with you, soulmate, running all kinds of game, but your actions, well, his actions, he waited on me hand and foot. I was kind of spoiled in that, right, where he would, do the cooking, I would do the cleaning, he would do the cooking, I would do the fixing of the cars and everything like that. Kind of roles were almost reversed, so almost. Or, but everybody's supposed to cook, clean, everybody's supposed to know how to do stuff for their car, but since I was a mechanic, I did that until I got tired, just like, why am I doing all this, for somebody that's, he spoke on marriage and then talked about going to therapy, but I'm like, I'm not the one hanging on to resentment towards my parents. I just left them alone. I'm not holding any resentment towards anybody, really. I went to a psychologist, and I, for anxiety, because I had a work from home type job. Well, that's the original, what it said, work from home, but they were always trying to get my ass in the office. I'm just like, I can't be around these people and work properly. I can't get any work done properly because of the simple fact that they don't know how to shut the fuck up, and all they do is gossip. Like maybe the first 20 minutes is a meeting, discussion, or first 2 hours, I say, a meeting or discussion. They talk about stuff that they're actually supposed to be talking about, and then the rest of it is a bunch of bullshit, a bunch of messy, catty bullshit, and I'm just like, I can't function here. Like, this is a toxic work environment. I'm already sitting in front of a computer, which isn't really isn't something that I typically would choose for a job. I already did that for like 8 years with insurance. But it was work from home, and I got to work from anywhere, really, but they wanted me to be stationed even when I was working, off site. So it's like they tried to make it a hybrid role after the fact, after I signed the paper for a remote job, and wanted me to be in the office. The only reason I went into the office was to drop off documents and organize them, in which I did a good job in, but then somebody would come in and just fuck them up and take them all out of order. I'm like, you don't have the common sense. You need to recruit new people then, if you don't have the common sense of how to keep shit in order that is already in order. So anyway, that's neither here. No, I got wrongfully terminated, basically, because I was like sabotaged to that point. That was just straight, but I couldn't prove that shit. Tried to go for unemployment. They told me I needed to make like 2,000. Unemployment isn't my thing either, because it's like, I think the longest I've been on unemployment was like 2 weeks, and then I was working again. So it's just like, I don't see myself I've never really gotten much government assistance. I got a grant to get through college, the 2 years of college that I did go through, and some government assistance, food stamps and stuff like that. And that's really about it. And every single job I had, there was like some toxic bullshit going on, where some dude was like, who worked directly with me, was always trying to cause some issue or confrontation. And I'm just like, dude, I'm not here for that shit. But then like back when I was younger, I was a little more, like quick with it, as far as like my temperament. Then yeah, I would respond like in a way, because I'm like, there's no way that you're coming at me like that, and all we do is work together, and some shit, setting boundaries, and you're still crossing them. It's like, dude, what the fuck, dude? I've never done anything to you but work with you and be cool. But suddenly, somebody's got a problem, totally unwarranted. So it's like, I already knew what was up. And I have to finish this story. I'm going to a hair appointment right now. Finish this story in my next video. Might have to cut this one short, actually. But yeah, it's just been that my entire life, like, people have an issue with. I'm like, what did I really do except for set a boundary, or even when I just simply move on? It's just like, it's no hard feelings on my part. It's just like, okay, this isn't working, just simply move on. We ain't meshing right now, we're not vibing, and we keep trying, and it's just not working. I'm not gonna keep trying on some shit that's just supposed to be dead. So, it's like, well, I'm not a vulture, I'm not a carry-on bird. I just, I'm a whole eagle out this bitch. I'm not about to sit here and go after shit that's dead, period. I'm not about, like, no, just no. And to this day, I'm still having these dust bunny ass energies trying to come around me, like, and have conversations around me that I don't give a fuck about somebody else's business still. Just like, I don't care about, like, I don't like discussing other people's business because it ain't got shit to do with me, you know? So I like to stay to myself, stay in my lane, drink my water, and mind my damn business. That is my motto. This is an idiot right here. I'm sorry, got somebody behind me that needs to pass. Like, do I have to come to a complete stop? But anyways, fam, take care, love you. I'll see you in the next video.